I just want to get like since we're not in a rush.
I'll just keep holding in this urine then.
Go pee.
I'm peeing right now.
Well, I found the stinger for the opening. We make no moral judgments about him, but he is our enemy.
Your antagonist.
Yeah.
Whereas I am like a villainous anti-hero. I'm the Seto Kaiba to Sam's Yugimoto. I'm the black-haired Lancer character to Sam's Jaden Yuki.
That explains the patch in the leather jacket.
I'm the blonde guy who drives a motorcycle compared to Sam's red and black-haired guy.
You're just saying words now.
I mean, speaking of anime tropes, so I'm feeling it, but...
well, no, it's all just Yu-Gi-Oh, really.
Yeah. On that pleasant note, welcome to The Breakup, the podcast about destroying the things you love by giving them away, and boy, are we destroying some things today. I'm Sam Young.
Oh, I'm Jacob Lesko.
You are.
I was spacing out.
And today we're joined by another super fan of the podcast, Chris Ross. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Warm golf clap. Chris has been a listener since...
early days?
Yeah, pretty early days, yeah. We like to have all our really big fans on the show so that we can kind of pretend that we have an audience base. So why don't we kick this off? I think we tend to have the guest go first.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why don't we let Chris have this?
So this week, Sam and Jacob had me watch Drive by involving Ryan Gosling. Starring Ryan Gosling is the right word, and directed by some European guy whose name I did not know going into and don't remember afterwards.
Neither do I.
I really enjoyed it. You said in your last episode that you didn't think I'd enjoy it, and I'm curious to hear why.
Yeah, I have. We'll talk about that, but give us a summary of Drive.
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling is a pretty man who does bad things for money. And
what sort of bad things?
Crime.
Okay.
And
does bad crimes.
Well, some bad crimes, not as bad as other bad crimes, but some surprisingly graphically violent crimes, which, judging from like the 80s soundscape and great costume design, I was not expecting in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Got anything to add to that?
I mean, sorry, I guess I should actually say, it was a family drama set against a crime movie.
Yeah.
And a lot about love, a lot about growth, and just a really great coat. There was that part where he mentioned that he was the scorpion with the frog and the allegory there, which I thought that line was maybe didn't need to be stated if it was... a
touch on the nose.
A little on the nose, but overall a really enjoyable movie. It's a lot. I don't generally watch a lot of dramas or thrillers, so it was a nice surprise and it was something I really enjoyed.
Okay. So ask us the traditional question.
So why do you guys like this piece of shit?
Yeah. So I had heard of it a lot, and I decided just one day to watch it. And I was sitting through the first 10 minutes, and I thought to myself, well, Wasco's got to watch this too, because he had made me play Hotline Miami.
Oh,
and
yes.
The aesthetic is, Hotline Miami is basically a ripoff.
Well, yeah, they stole most of their stuff from this movie.
So it's aesthetically very, very similar. So I grabbed Jacob and we watched it together. And I obviously, all about the aesthetic, got that 80s vibe, love the Gosling. I like the soundtrack a lot. Jacob's not as big a fan.
I have a very antagonistic relationship with the score to this because the opening song by, I think, Kavinsky, like sort of techno 80s band that does it, played a lot in bars I would visit, especially nerd bars. And I would always sit there going, how the fuck is this a nerd bar song? Like, it's 80s synth, but that's kind of it.
Nerds do love synth.
Yeah, but it would be the only synth song that played for the evening.
Well, they couldn't get the credits for the Tron opening, so they're doing their best.
I mean, that song is produced by one of the Daft Punk guys. So
Really?
yeah,
Jeez.
That makes a lot of sense.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's enough. It's just like this guy was involved.
Jacob, why do you like it? Other than the obvious reasons.
I like ultraviolence.
Okay.
No, that's not entirely it. I actually encountered the filmography of this movie watching a very successful Vancouver-made video essay series about video essays. Mm-hmm. And so I was...
Is that Every Frame a Picture?
Every Frame a Painting. And so I really appreciated how they would do sort of when they're laying the shots, what the team sort of working on that called the quadrant format, where there would be something like 4 stories playing out, like one to the left, one to the right, one up top, one on bottom in certain shots. Or like just one up top, one on bottom, or just one to the left, one to the right. If you cut the picture in half as the movie was playing. And so
Are you me? Did you just suddenly turn into me?
I wanted to get in on it for that. And so unfortunately Sam generally only really likes sort of lowbrow anime sort of things, and I managed to get him in to watch it just for the visceral fun of like car chases and what have you. So academically, I think that drives a lot for aspiring filmographers, for people like Sam who have no taste in class.
Wow.
That's probably something more.
Ice cold.
I think Jacob just took the reins of this podcast and just took over. So the reason, Chris, I didn't think you would like it, kind of the violence. Not that I think like I don't know you as a particularly squeamish guy, but I thought that might kind of turn you off. And there is admittedly some violence towards women in this movie, which is not aged well from I think
2011.
2011? Yeah, okay. So I thought maybe that would turn you off, but I'm pleasantly surprised, or I'm pleased you liked it.
That is the one scene that like did with spoilers for 2011 or 2011's Drive.
We are a spoiler zone. This podcast is a spoiler zone.
The scene where she gets shot in the bathroom, that was like a pretty intense moment.
Yeah,
and it kind of was stood against the rest of the tone of the movie so far. Like there was the crime, like the chase scene, some intensity there. There was Oscar Isaac getting shot, who, as Spacey came, I was not also depressed that he left. And the shot in the shower was really kind of a marked turning. Well, it was the turning point in the movie, where the violence escalated dramatically. And like once I got into there, I'm like, oh shit, that's the movie I'm watching. Like I can go from here.
Okay. It is interesting because the actress who is or the character who's killed there is played by Christina Hendricks. So it's kind of like that Psycho thing where it's like, oh, a big name actor. She's certainly good. Oh, she's dead. Yeah. So I like the surprise of that, even if the presentation is a thing.
They went slow-mo on that shot for a minute, did they? Or it felt like it felt like time slowed down for a minute. That might have just been me watching it because it was.
Yeah, that might have just been the power of the scene.
Because it was very dramatic, and I kind of like blanked out on the moment for what happened to the other shooter. But that was a lot.
I think a window is involved.
Yes, well, she gets shot through the window, which is
it's a scene. We talk a lot about the Coen brothers, oddly enough, on our show, and I'm a big fan of the sort of medium ebb movie, which is suddenly high violence. That punctuation point. Like I don't know about you, I really like No Country for Old Men.
I know. I don't watch I haven't watched a lot of movies actually at all lately. So that was kind of a pleasant, like it was a nice departure. You could argue about like Girlfriends and Horrors as the background for the movie.
Yeah.
As a crime movie, we can adjust that as a genre later on, but like that the character was shown to have agency before she was murdered, which is what it is, I guess. Yeah. But as like the only major failing gender-wise, like that was not. There's a lot of interesting stuff done.
Not the worst crime ever or not the worst kind of like movie sin ever. Before we started recording, you said something interesting about going into this movie blind. I kind of forgot about like the star-studded cast and how weird that must be to just go into it like that.
Bryan Cranston! I yelled. I'm like, shit, it's Bryan Cranston! And then watching Ron Perlman walk in, who is. I love him in Hellboy. I liked him in Pacific Rim. I did not love his character in this movie. Okay. He was a lovely villain, and was not sad to see him go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in a very pretty scene and
Yeah.
well directed.
Well, like, part of it is that he's playing such a, you almost think it's a very Ron Perlman character until you realize, oh, this character's just zero foresight, like,
Yes.
at all. Just like, no, I care about this now, which is very not Perlman's, how he tends to be cast. He tends to be played as the very hyper-competent, suave villain.
Yeah, and he was neither of those things.
Yeah, no, he's just like some rude boy that seemed like a college student.
Bit of a schmuck.
If he was a rude boy, I would have liked him better.
I actually really like Albert Brooks in this movie. Probably one of my favorite villains I've seen in a movie recently. Like, there's this moment where he kills Bryan Cranston's character by just cutting his wrist.
Oof.
And it's very graphic, but it's not... It's hard to describe. It's not violent, but once it happens, he sort of comforts him. Like, he says, okay, that's it. You're going to bleed out now, or whatever the line is. And I thought, that's such an interesting note for a villain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Albert Brooks is, like, a comic actor. So it's interesting to see him in that role.
You gotta die here, but I'm gonna try and make this as easy for you as possible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That scene was tastefully done, because it could have been
Oh, yeah.
much worse.
Yeah.
And the scene with the mook in the strip bar, that like with the nail got put against the board, I'm like, I really don't want to see this part. Like, watching the hand get broken was like, okay,
Yeah.
and I'm like, swallow the bullet, okay, nail in the forehead. I'm like, oh, is it going to go in the eye? Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to go in the eye. I watched something terrible on Twitter with a nail going through other body parts recently, and I was like, do not want, but also like, which I will not mention or share a link to.
Fair enough.
You're very welcome. That's terrible.
I mean, sharing links are pretty hard over an audio-based medium, but I believe you.
I could send it to your Twitter account.
Just call it every single time
Please.
you share this episode, just link it underneath.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Use our Twitter account. Please post something on our Twitter account.
Add us. Please add us.
We have to feed our children. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, but most of our listeners know me personally, so I have a glass eye, so I have eye things.
Oh,
so
yeah.
So definitely, like, I am always relieved when there's not eye things in movies.
Yes.
When I think there are going to be eye things.
Well, it was already bad enough, and it was played for comic effect afterwards at the restaurant, where it's like, oh, his hands are both in casts and his arms are both in casts. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that sucks, but like, you know, meh. And then Ron Perlman butchering. Was it Ron? It wasn't Ron Perlman butchering the guy. Who was the?
Probably. Who's being butchered?
It was the mook who had shot Oscar Isaac.
Oh.
Ron Perlman, probably Ron Perlman.
Or it may have been Albert Brooks.
I think it was Albert Brooks, because he's like, now it's your time to clean up my fucking mess. After he stabs him in the throat, which was like, yeah, but...
Right, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
This is a meta commentary on our podcast, but I always kind of like that Jacob and I usually have not reviewed the thing that we're making the other person watch, and so we're always just a little behind that person, which makes it my brain turns in very interesting ways trying to recall this stuff. It makes it interesting when we have to defend ourselves.
About your taste, or
just anything. All the crimes that we have done.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I made notes when I was watching it, and I kept coming back to how great that coat was and how he kept it
so good.
like pretty clean through the whole movie. Like, it was bloody from like the belly button thing. That's the anatomical term I'm looking for. The belly button down, but other than that, like, the top of it was all kept pretty pristinely white through the
It's okay, I'll edit that one out.
Thank you.
You can do retakes on this.
It was kept pretty pristinely white through most of the movie.
Very well done.
Thank you.
I imagine murder hobos actually do require a pretty good dry cleaning.
That's a costume I want to do, actually, the driver. Because I did Kay from Blade Runner 2049. Not that I look that much like Ryan Gosling, but I can pull off, like, brown-haired Canadian protagonist. So
I was actually wondering if our conversation about Blade Runner is why you thought I wouldn't like it.
maybe it was. Yeah, maybe I had a sense that the Gosling aesthetic wasn't in your wheelhouse.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am a gay man in my early 30s. I love Ryan Gosling. However, that wasn't my turnoff with Blade Runner.
No, I know, yeah.
But it was... Like, the lighting, I haven't watched Neon Demon either. I don't know if I should.
I haven't seen it.
That's the same director as well.
Oh, by Drive?
Yeah, Drive and Neon Demon shared director.
Mutual friend of Jacob and actually mutual friend of all of us, Eli, has said that, to me, you would hate this, but it's worth watching.
That means I would probably okay it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might enjoy it. I like things that are bad.
Yeah.
Judging from what I need to listen to.
That's a good transition. So what would you give on any grading scale that you deem appropriate? What would you give Drive?
2 thumbs up and a content warning about graphic violence.
The socially conscious answer. That's unique on our show.
I know it had an R rating.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder what this R rating is for. And I'm like, yes, here we are.
So,
it's Bryan Cranston. I see. That's an R.
So 4 Canadian tuxedos out of 5.
Oh, absolutely. It's denim all the way down.
Yeah. So, Chris.
Scooby-Doo laugh ensues.
And I would have gotten away with it.
So, for those listening at home, I'm getting no eye contact from either host and a lot of shaking and heads and hands because I made these two watch the first episode of the series Bones and the last episode of the series Bones without any context in it.
You forgot to mention that the last episode was actually a 2-parter.
I regret nothing.
So we discovered this ourselves, and we thought about it. We had a long, strong deliberation about the matter, to which I said, final ruling. Chris said we had to watch the last episode of Bones, so we're going to watch the second part of this 2-part episode. And that's it.
Oh, even better.
That's as much as we're willing to do for this. So we watched the first and absolute last episode of Bones.
Bones is a TV show. It's about a forensic anthropologist. I can't really tell you anything else about the show because we didn't watch it. We watched the first and last episode. And I really struggled while I watched it not to yell at it for not making sense like it's a bad movie, but actually it's my fault because I haven't watched it.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but it doesn't make it a whole lot better if you watch the whole thing. I could have done the thing with the serial killer mini arc, or maybe you watch the musical episode, which would have been dramatically worse.
Musical episode?
Oh, do you want to watch it? 'Cause
No!
I've got some free time after the record. If you want, I can make you suffer through that.
I'm cooking us dinner, so...
Oh, thank you. Even after
I will spit in your fucking burger.
I'm going to let Jacob go first on this because I have extensive notes. So
really, you're just letting me.
Yeah, I'm going to let you go in on this first.
Well, we're doing a bad job describing what we watched.
No, we're not. We have nothing. We have that Bones. I just described it. Shut up and tell me what you think of it.
So the first episode of Bones involves a murder mystery extravaganza where there's a stalker who's kind of cutely creepy, and that he's totally harmless except for the fact he'll stalk you. There's also, in the last episode of Bones, a bomb goes off. And by a bomb, I mean 5 bombs go off. And TJ Miller, who I didn't realize was in the show, winds up in a wheelchair at some point in an episode we didn't see. So that was also did he get exploded by the wheelchair? To which, no, that didn't happen. Also, a lot of music videos. I'm going into your notes.
Yeah.
Like anime music videos? AMVs? That were made?
There was some AMVs. Yeah, there was some AMVs.
Like when she gets the blue hair and all that. So I have a confession to make. I'm going to be talking primarily about the last episode.
Okay, because I have a lot more notes on the first episode.
Okay, that's good. So
let's do this out of order.
Yeah, let's be just really confused. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. You go. Okay. We're doing this in order. We're doing this professionally.
So my first note is tits.
Oh my god. I know the scene you're talking about.
Yeah. They sure like boobs in this show. In the first episode, at least, because every woman has forgotten how to do up the top 2 buttons of their blouses.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of my other notes is boobs.
There's a scene at the airport.
Yeah.
It's the first scene. It's the first thing you see.
Where not even our main character, but our main character's
plucky sidekick,
plucky friend, is trying to get some horrible human being's attention, and she just rips open her top, revealing not a bra.
It's like a bralette. It's like lingerie.
It's a corset lingerie top.
Yeah.
It's a lot. to wear to an airport.
It might be the most gratuitous boob shot I've ever seen in any piece of media.
Well, for a second, we were very legitimately concerned for her because she ripped it off so quickly that we were like, "Oh my god, did she ruin the buttons to her blouse?"
But no,
it was literally like those little tack-on buttons. It wasn't like actual for real buttons.
Seen later, they're fine.
Yeah.
My next note is anthropologists are bad at airports post 9/11 because the main character arrives, is carrying human remains in her bag, and was rightly stopped by the TSA.
Whose hand she breaks.
Yeah. But then it turns out to be like a friendly prank. Then I have David Boreanaz is a wizard, and I don't remember why I said that.
I mean, he is, and a vampire.
Oh, no, I remember that. I remember this bit, I think. He shows up, like, sort of almost at this magical
it's
moment.
the book.
Yeah, and, like, he produces a book. He's wearing, like, the FBI suit, but he just pulls a book out of nowhere. He doesn't have a bag. He's not able to, like, fit it underneath, and he just hands the book over, her own book over to her. And we're like, how did this happen?
Well, he puts his gun down his pants so he can slip a book in his holster. I mean,
My next note is, I don't know what that means, ×4. Because I started counting those after a while, because it was such a delightful joke. Then I have Monica Lewinsky jokes. Those have aged well in 2005.
Well, did the season premiere in, like, 2000? Yeah,
2005, yeah.
I specifically remember the bra scene when I was assigning this task to you, because I recently watched it. And I was like, this is just really the most gratuitous thing I've seen in, like, a lot of garbage TV.
Well, my other boobs note, and I mean, okay, I'm a straight guy in my 30s. I like a cleavage shot.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens that the protagonist has fallen asleep after a long night of bones stuff. And her ex-boyfriend has broken into her house. And for some reason, she's still got her shoes and, like, her slacks and stuff on. But she's just got, like, the most booberific top on, and I thought, well, I like this Emily Deschanel, but I don't know why I need to see it.
Can we talk about briefly the boyfriend?
We're going to talk. We're going to get through my notes. STEM is good. Psychology is bad.
Oh yeah, like they say something about like something being not a quack science. Psychology is a quack scientist. And I think I just immediately screamed out, "Yeah, what about anthropology, huh? How's that been going?"
And then I called you a dirty sociologist.
I mean, cultural anthropology is valid. Am I right?
Am I right? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I left? Am I? There are a lot of wrist beatdowns.
Yes.
Yeah.
People go for wrists.
That's her thing, is just to grab someone by the wrist and push down, which works.
Also, the guy from True Blood who plays the shapeshifter is in this as the dirty senator, or his assistant. I was actually never clear on which one.
There seem to be two dirty senators.
Sam Trammell, who played who played Sam on True Blood.
I did not remember that he was there.
Before Jacob goes into his complaints about the last episode, which are truly interesting, I assure you, I really compared this to House. Because they both came out at the same time, and they both were about eccentric genius who is bad at dealing with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I compared it badly to House. Even though I think House doesn't actually hold up all that well in some regards.
It doesn't.
It's still, I think it's more compelling than this, but it's interesting to watch something that is just sort of a knockoff of not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I was going with that. It's worse than House is what I'm saying.
I hated the soundtrack, personally. It was way too saccharine. Or into like sort of
so many music videos.
Yeah, no, like basically whenever you think there'd be a cut, you know, that meanwhile back at the ranch house sort of thing, we're going to have in our show 1 to 2 minutes straight of like a few B-roll shots of DC and sort of someone wistfully looking out to soft rock over some, not even necessarily like a landmark, but just like something that is very DC.
So tell us about the last episode.
T.J. Miller, who I am a huge fan of, and I really hope will one day be on our podcast, because he has never said anything problematic or wrong in his life. Censorship is a huge problem in the comedy industry. So we wake up in the second part of our season finale.
Like a strange dream.
And there's been this explosion. Someone drags TJ Miller up and off the floor and into a wheelchair, to which Sam went, did his legs get broken? Like, what happened? I went, no, I think that's just his wheelchair now.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the first episode, he was perfectly fine. He was, doing the whole...
Walking thing.
And... I was literally just about to call her house. The doctor,
Temperance Brennan.
Shut up, Chris.
Absolutely not.
Shut your mouth.
Shut up. So the main character and her FBI Lancer love squeeze have gotten married at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And they have kids.
They have 2 kids.
I think. Who we see once.
Well, no, that's not quite right.
Twice.
We see them in the background of many shots, but they never really interact with them.
My theory is that they don't actually love their children.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
And so the big sort of like twisting arc of this last episode, other than there's a deranged serial bomber who's wanting revenge for something, and it has something to do with like
her dad.
Bones' parents were killed or vanished or something.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, she suffers a concussion from the explosion, which makes her not bone real good.
Mm-hmm.
She's bad at boning now. And I got very, very, very excited for this because I wanted this to be permanent. I wanted the show to end with its 12 years of protagonist just having her like light be robbed from her, and that'd be this like beautiful, poignant thing. And so we're going through this really dumb fucking story about
this incomprehensible story.
The serial bomber has married his sister.
I don't think they actually were incestuous. I think it was just a cover.
Yeah, it was just a cover, but like he did marry his sister, and Bones does a freak. She's also slurring throughout this entire thing to, I guess, show that she has brain damage.
Yep.
Question mark. And so FBI husband shows...
Vampire husband.
Vampire husband actually shows a human emotion for the children, which is an immediate sign that he's going to be punished for this, which happens near the climax of the episode where his hand gets broken.
And, okay, I want to set this up. So Jacob gets this look of pure malicious glee on his face, and he turns to me and he says something to the effect of, oh, they've both lost what makes them them. Yes!
They both lost the thing they're good at. Yes! And I jump for joy as Bones says, oh, it's a blah, 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 blah. And then because her fucking magical thing is wrists. She's like an idiot savant for wrists. And just relocates his dislocated wrist. And I go, no! As my hope and joy was robbed from me.
And then it's like 20 minutes of montage and like, look at all these Easter eggs.
Well, yeah, like, remember when this happened? To which we went, no. Remember when this happened?
This is when I got really mad at the show, and it wasn't fair because I kept screaming, who are you? Whenever someone would pop up.
There's many cast members who died.
Yeah.
And, like, a couple of the interns got murdered. Like, Booth and Brennan had, like, an adopted younger, like, young psychiatrist that was their, like, adoptive son, who also gets murdered. Like, it's very sad and very upsetting.
So I have 2 big problems / questions.
Only 2.
The first, I watch a lot of garbage because this motherfucker. The first problem I have is I was promised either by you or Sam, this was like the big bad guy was someone who like used to work and was like a serial killer's apprentice.
That is not what we promised you.
That happens in the first or second season?
No, it's like the 3rd season.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really watched this show, but I know of this.
Well, I guess I just set myself up for something fun that didn't happen.
I mean,
that's my life.
But
that's on me.
But if you want to, I can find those episodes and send you a list.
You come into our house
and make you watch garbage TV. Yes.
It's what a lot of people do, admittedly.
Chris, I love you like a brother, and that's why I kissed you on the lips that one time. But...
Whoa!
I will punch you. Even suggest the second problem is, and this is, I think, the second to last fucking scene. There's a specific number of redheads on this show that
this is so funny.
Is mutable. So one character we don't fucking know the name of, and I don't want to learn it, walks into beefy
David Boreanaz,
and is like, I broke up with that redheaded psychologist, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Was that because of the transfer? No, I was actually able to keep my job here because I really wanted it, but just wasn't working. And David Boreanaz is like, that's sad. I have to express more emotions for you over my own children, but I mean, that's really, really sad. And so that loser fucking leaves Vampire Dad and stumbles onto a redheaded psychologist who was another character on the show. We're like, oh, is that his ex?
Yeah, we were. Oh, okay, that's awkward. All right,
wow,
well, maybe
okay,
they get
that's
back
what
together all of a sudden.
That's what the show is going for. No, this is a completely different fucking character who's just a redheaded psychologist who says, oh, I got you 2 buckets of fried chicken to, celebrate or commiserate,
Like that means anything.
And I think I screamed at the TV, who can eat that much fried chicken? To which he very smoothly was like, well, you can help me finish it. I don't fucking know. He flirts with her and it works.
Mm-hmm. And that the implication,
was that her plan? Yeah. Was that the plan all along? Because that was at least an arc I could care about.
That is an arc that was continuing on from earlier in the season where...
Great.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the other redheaded psychologist?
He was the FBI agent, wasn't he?
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like
He was
Avery
FBI,
was the name that I don't fucking know.
There are a lot of FBI's dating redheads.
I was watching the last episode. I was waiting for all those television tropes, TV tropes we might call them, that appear in last episodes of shows, which are the callbacks to the very first episode, which we just watched.
Mm-hmm.
And they include, of course, the I don't know what that means joke. Mulder and Scully again, which apparently she somehow has avoided the cultural phenomenon of the X-Files in some way. I have a note here that's just America in uppercase letters.
Oh, there's a scene where it's literally the last scene and they're looking over the laboratory. Sidebar, we need to talk about the laboratory for a second.
You mean the Jeffersonian laboratory?
We need to talk about the Jeffersonian, airplane hangar that's got, a cool, modern lounge in it, and a bar.
Uh-huh.
And it's like if someone took the apartment from Friends and tried to make it a workplace. It's equally impractical. Sidebar concluded. So they're looking at this horrible this office that they looked at, and there's literally just a shot of David Boreanaz and Bones sitting next to each other on a park bench with an American flag right over the Jeffersonian Memorial Bones Lab. Mm-hmm. And it was this perfect America shot. And I think some fireworks go off.
I wouldn't be surprised. As much as I do enjoy this show, the leaning on patriotism is a lot and bad.
So I believe... that's a good cue-in for a question we have for you.
Uh-huh.
Why do you like this piece?
Oh, yeah, we forgot about that.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in the middle that makes it good, and I wouldn't let you watch
I don't believe you.
The T.J. Miller getting put into a wheelchair, that was there was a long arc of him, learning to cope with grief and with...
I didn't assume they just... did that.
No, all of a sudden it did for us. Yeah, so that's true.
Yeah.
Yes. And my personal favorite part that you wouldn't have got to see any of at all, Angela, the plucky best friend with the really nice bra.
Yep. I remember.
In season 1 and 2, she developed this thing called the Angelatron, which is a marvel of forensic science, where if you input the right information, you can solve any crime with a hologram.
I don't want to fucking
hold on.
That's in the first episode.
Yeah, it's very bad, but also I love it to bits. Specifically how she developed the best forensic tool in all of existence.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Now, it gets blown up because the writers realized, hey... if we could solve any crime in 25 minutes or 45 minutes with commercial breaks, we really need to expand that so we have more room to work. So they blow it up. Then she rebuilds parts of it that help it. But the visualization, the holographic visualization machine breaks, which is tragic. But she gets there's a letter sent to the office about, someone's winning a Woman in STEM award. And everyone's like, oh, it's going to be me. It's the director of the Jeffersonian thinks that, and Bones thinks that. It actually goes to Angela. And they're all like... yeah, I guess that makes sense. You did do this super cool computer science.
You solved crime.
Yes. Crime's over. If you give me a murder weapon, I can tell you the height, weight, and age, and probably gender of whoever murdered this person.
It was so good with the first episode. It's just a photo. It's just a photo they've taken of a person. And it's a hologram.
Yeah, it's very bad. The interpersonal stuff is actually where the show does shine. David Boreanaz can't act his way out of a bag. I'm sorry. He can't.
He's so handsome.
I mean, he was, and then, I got to watch him pretend to be a sniper for a while, which was gross. The whole, jingoistic military thing. Yeah. There's a JFK episode.
Of course.
Do they solve who did it?
They do.
Why did you make us watch that?
Because it's god-awful. Yeah. And the discussion
No, not like this. Not like this that we watched. No, this is fucking art. This is beauty. No, we couldn't learn about who really killed JFK.
Well, they don't actually tell you at the end of the episode, I don't think.
They just solve it.
That was on... I throw my book.
Was it Bones? Was it David Boreanaz? Is he a time traveler?
Okay. It might have been David Boreanaz's grandfather.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Okay, I've invested.
I haven't watched that episode in 8 years because it was stupid. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, that doesn't stop me from speculating about what happened in it and making it better. So
it's funny. The one thing I remembered about the show is that I thought the woman who plays Angela is not very good at acting. I hate to admit this. I thought the first episode, it's terrible, but it's fine. Mm-hmm. As trash TV goes, we got Boreanaz, we got the procedural, we got Emily Deschanel's tits. I'm in. I'm down. And then the ghoulish... Okay, this is a sidebar. The ghoulish thing that I was looking forward to was watching the first episode and then watching these people age 12 years.
Yeah, that was really fucked up. Can I just say that? So, I was looking forward to these people's lives being ruined, but you were looking forward to the actual actors withering and facing entropy. So that's dark.
So who aged the best?
No one.
Okay, Angela.
She
doesn't look... She didn't age a day.
Yeah.
Boreanaz got thicker, but he still looks pretty good. I don't know if time was very kind to Emily Deschanel.
No.
But she had 2 babies, so whatever.
Yeah.
Screw me.
The slurring didn't help.
At first I thought that was just
how she spoke?
Yeah, I was like, did she just give up on acting?
No, it clears up noticeably.
It does, yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
Acting.
Yeah. But we didn't watch the previous episode, so we had no context for that.
It really probably wouldn't have helped all that much. Mm-hmm. There's one part after the first season, the director of the Jeffersonian.
What's his name? He's really snide to her and kind of sexist.
Yes.
Yeah.
He goes on vacation and is replaced by Cam Sororian.
Yeah.
And Cam sticks around for the next 11 season, and it's never commented on again, and it makes me very happy. It's just I guess his contract ran up, and she tests better. So, there's a lot of characters in that show that deserve better than they got. Mm-hmm. The actress who played Dr. Sorian does show up in Altered Carbon.
Mm.
Yeah.
Which Jacob has watched.
Oh, God, you're right.
Yeah.
Oh. Wait, which actress?
the black lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I had it completely confused with someone else. No.
Who did you think she was?
Let's go.
Is this in theme of show to talk about something that Sam hasn't watched?
Oh, have you not watched?
I haven't. I keep meaning to, actually.
I guess it's going to be on the podcast at some point because I really don't like Altered Carbon.
I also don't like Altered Carbon.
It's a great first 3 episodes, and then you have the rest of the show.
Yeah, it sure is a thing.
Okay.
Yes, and. Yes, and.
No, but.
That's how you end up with Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
Which is almost as much of a mess as last episode of Bones.
It was so funny watching this. I loved it because it was so bizarre. Because Jacob rightly said, well, no, we can't watch the last 2. What was interesting, they tie up the thing about her parents, which is a whole arc, which they mentioned once in the first episode for 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I feel really satisfied by that conclusion that they killed that guy.
What? You feel satisfied by anything in this fucking show? Don't you lie.
Jacob's sarcasm detector apparently left the room. So I give Bones bone out of bone on a scale of bone.
It is exactly 1 bone.
Well, the problem is if I don't give a number, this will be the show that defeated me, and I don't want to fucking give it that satisfaction.
You don't want to lose to me?
I don't want to lose to anyone. I'm a winner.
Yes. Clapping on audio.
It's a visual medium. It's a visual medium. It's an audio. Fuck, I fucked up a lot. While we were watching Jacob, often Jacob and I, when we are given a guest thing, we will record our reactions to it.
Spoilers, that is our gift to you. Is we just give you
if we remember to do it.
Yeah.
But there was a certain point where they were playing some schmaltzy music, and Jacob started like playing the keys to it, and I looked at him and I shouted, "It's an audio medium, Jacob." Anyway, give it your grade.
I give Bones 3 David Boreanuses out of 6 altered carbons.
You know what? 50%'s a pass.
Yeah. Oh no, that's not how that metric works.
A David Boreanaz is worth like 0.5.
You think I'm operating in base 10? What the fuck? I'm a STEM boy.
You're operating at a free base.
Ain't no psychologist. Okay, so this brings us to our common theme.
What's the letter again?
Still F. It's still F.
Forensics?
I was going to go with freaky, but I think we've done that.
Does forensic tie into drive, though?
I mean, there's crimes.
There is crimes.
And no one's solving
But there's no scene where anyone stares at like a body and
I'm willing
back together.
I mean, I'm an easy sell. I'm willing to go with forensics.
Fine.
All right.
The other option's like frenulum or something, and that's not going to happen.
Fibula.
All right, that's fibula. That's it.
It's fibula. All right. There we go. Thank you, Chris, for doing that to us.
And thank you for sharing an actually good movie. I really do appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
We need to strike back. Like we've this was a show in its conception about 2 friends testing their friendship, like sort of a Goof Troop video game sort of situation.
No, there's a deep cut.
There's a deep cut, but now this has become, with the cavalcade of guests, a absolute torrential nightmare of shit being thrown at us.
You kind of liked Kino's journey. What are you complaining about?
The part where the volcano falls on him and everyone dies.
The most poignant thing I've seen in years.
And also, we have to get to the part where you need to be punished for what happened for this.
No, there's no. Okay,
Yes.
Okay. I will allow a punishment if Chris agrees. So normally, Jacob and I punish each other if we reveal what we think about a thing before we do the show. Friend of the podcast and previous guest, Nick Stinchcombe, asked me, "Was Bones good?" And I muttered, "No." And Jacob thinks I should be punished. But I argue there are no set rules for our opinions on the guest episodes. Now, as an impartial third party, Mr. Chris Ross, good friend who I've known for about 10 years, should I be punished for this?
Well, I think if you should be punished, I should also be punished. So,
all right, great.
But you're outside of the vicious cycle that is this podcast.
Hold on, what? Now, Jacob, what punishment?
I'm not making eye contact with you.
What punishment do you think Sam should endure for his heinous crimes?
You know what it is.
Is it watching the rest of Bones?
It's what.
I quit the podcast.
You're warm. It's the JFK episode of Bones.
Oh my God! Yes. Sam, you must. We'll watch it together.
Okay,
that is your gift to me.
All right, I concede. I will concede the point. We'll do a special episode. Oh fuck.
Oh yes.
Man. So next time, Jacob and I will have yet another in our gauntlet of guests, a close friend of mine. They are going to have us watch a movie called Phantom of the Paradise, which I know nothing about except I have one song on my Winamp from it. We're going to make them read
Kill 6 billion.
part of Kill 6 Billion Demons. Return to the show, celebrity guest, Kill 6 Billion Demons. So I think that about wraps it up. We'd like to thank Irritating Rainbow for the use of our theme song, You Broke It, from the album Where'd the Truck Go? You can find that in the description. You can find us on Twitter. We're at The Breakup Cast. You can also find us on Facebook with basically the same thing. Mm-hmm. How about you tell us...
We have a YouTube channel as
We
well.
also have a YouTube channel.
You have a YouTube channel?
Yeah,
We do.
If you would prefer to listen to our podcast while on YouTube.
While watching our logo go by.
Yeah.
If you want to, why don't you tell us about a time you played a movie or showed a book to a friend and they really liked it?
So tonight?
Yeah, sure. We really liked it, Chris. We'd like to thank Chris for being on our show.
And to thank him, we'd like to ask Chris, final thought?
Yes, please.
Oh, fuck me. No, that's not going to work.
Screw it. I'm going to chug this beer.
All right, perfect. There we go.
Chug, 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 chug.